Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the warm reception. Glenn, thanks for the kind introduction. Wow, look at this crowd. Happy New Year, everyone. I'm excited for the upcoming year. It's great to see Senators Sinema and McSally here. I guess this is a real benefit of having Washington, D.C. shut down. We can have our senators home more often. So thanks for having me.
Governor, thank you. And we already heard a little bit about water. And this is a state where we've had incredible leadership from Republicans and Democrats on our water stewardship. My former boss, John Kyle, likes to say water security is economic development. Could you maybe talk a little bit about the drought contingency plan and the stakes for the state of Arizona to get this done?
I thought John Kyle said that whiskey's for drinking, water's for fighting. We're excited for the opportunity in front of us, and you did mention probably the modern leader on water policy in the state of Arizona, and Senator John Kyle. And it's really just been a long time since our state has had to deal with some of the water realities and issues that are in front of us. We stand on the shoulders of giants. I think sometimes we forget that we're in the 5th largest metropolitan area in the country. We are in the middle of a desert. We are in the fastest growing county in America, and we continue to grow. And it's because people like John Kyle and Bruce Babbitt and Carl Hayden and John Rhodes and others came before us and planned for Arizona's water future. And the last really big initiative that we did in water was the 1980 Groundwater Management Act. And there were some legislative fixes along the way, but we're in a position now where we have a sense of urgency and focus on Arizona's water situation. It's pretty simple. Arizona and our neighboring states take more water from the Colorado River than Mother Nature puts back. And it's time to protect Lake Mead and the future of the state of Arizona by ratifying the drought contingency plan by January 31st. And if we don't, the federal government will be in charge of our water future. What could go wrong?
I can think of a few things. Last month, and I just want to say that's the number 1 priority on the state level for us, Governor. Last month,
we're in alignment. It's number 1.
Numero uno. Yeah. We're transitioning to a trip that you took last month in Mexico. You were one of 2 sitting governors, I think 3 governors now in office, who attended the inaugural of the new president of Mexico. And I'd love to hear just sort of your thoughts on what you believe 2019 has in store for our relationship with Mexico.
Well, first I want to say Arizona's relationship right now is as good or better than it's ever been with Mexico. This was my first international trip as governor 4 years ago, and it was my first international trip upon being reelected. And the reception that we received at the inauguration of their new president was almost overwhelming in terms of the hospitality. We came into the dinner on the evening of inauguration, and the detail was helping me find my seat, and it was right next to their Secretary of State. So I think we're in a terrific position, not only building on what we've done, the relationship that we have with Governor Claudia Pavlovich, the first female governor of the state of Sonora, who was at inauguration on Monday. That's grown from so much more than just a relationship or a partnership. It is a real friendship, and I think you saw that not only at inauguration, but the next day when we met with the ambassador from Mexico to the United States for 90 minutes on how the relationship that Arizona has with Sonora and their federal government can be replicated across the country and in Washington, D.C. And I know we also have 2 willing senators. I've talked to both Senator Sinema and Senator McSally about this. So I think that the future is incredibly bright and unlimited for what's possible on the trade relationship. Now, of course, part of this is up to their new president as well, but I believe that those opportunities are there. I think that they will benefit our citizens and benefit their citizens, and they make all the sense in the world.
And it is noted on both sides of the border that the relationship that you've established with Governor Pavlovich is a model relationship between cross-border governors. And I just want to commend you for the work of the Arizona-Mexico Commission. It is a spectacular organization, and you couldn't name a sector of the state's economy that it hasn't produced real points and benefits for. Now, trade is a big deal. I sometimes, if I'm tweeting, I'm usually tweeting about, if it's not water, it's usually about trade. And during the trip to Mexico, I'm curious in terms of how the newly negotiated and signed by the three leaders of the North American countries, the US, Mexico, Canada agreement, the update to NAFTA, if you will, how did that come up during your meetings in Mexico?
So I think people are aware of what would be called NAFTA 2.0, or the new and improved NAFTA. What's referred to as the USMCA was something that, of course, I was advocating as a governor to the White House and to the federal government. And this wasn't a partisan thing in any way, shape, or form. There's 35 other governors that have a top 3 trading relationship with the nation of Mexico. So I'd like to believe we were some small part of moving some of the noise and conflict and confusion behind us and getting that agreement signed. And I think that's part of the reason that we had such a high profile with the Secretary of State and the ambassador. They see the relationship that we've built with Governor Pavlovich, and you mentioned the Arizona-Mexico Commission, which has really been a model. This is going to be the celebration this year of the 60th year of this organization, and I want to thank Jessica Pacheco for her leadership on the Arizona-Mexico Commission. And we have other governors from Mexico that want to be part of that coalition. We have other governors. Susana Martinez is a good friend, the former governor now in New Mexico, who was just here to sign a trade agreement in my office with Governor Pavlovich. Greg Abbott in Texas, and I actually got to spend a lot of time at the inauguration with the incoming governor of California, Gavin Newsom.
Thank you, Governor. For our state's economy, it's a huge deal, and you've said it a number of times that Mexico times 4 is our largest trading partner, and Canada is our largest source of foreign direct investment. Transitioning to another very important issue, education. Last legislative session resulted in the 20 by 2020 plan, which means that teachers will see an average increase of 20% by 2020. That's a lot of 20s. That's a good tongue twister. It's a big deal. It's in the bloodstream. It's very, very important. I would just love to hear your thoughts about education, some other things on the education front that you're thinking about in 2019.
Well, I want to start by thanking our hardworking teachers. Besides our parents, they're the biggest difference makers inside our state. This is a pay increase that our teachers had earned and deserve. We're halfway through that commitment. So I think we've said 20 by 2020 so often, we sometimes forget what it means. It means, of course, that 20% pay increase, 10% has been put out to our teachers and has found their way to their paycheck. So I want to thank our superintendents and our principals that have gotten that done. Now, to complete this, we need responsible budgeting in 2019 and in 2020. The good news is we're sitting right now on the largest projected budget surplus in a decade. So we're going to be able to get these dollars to our teachers, and there is more that we're going to need to do in K-12 education. We'll never check the box on K-12. I've said that several times. Things like school safety are incredibly important to me, and this year I think we have a responsibility to our kids and our teachers in the classroom to make certain that they're as safe as possible. And also, you mentioned, Glenn, we do have have more jobs available today in the state of Arizona than we have people to fill them. I sometimes tell the story about the smartest guy that I graduated from Arizona State University with. He went on to a competitive law school and is a successful attorney practicing in Yavapai County. He called me a few years back and said, Doug, you can shut down the law schools. We don't need any more lawyers in Arizona. We need a freaking plumber in Prescott, Arizona. And this is so true across the board on these skilled trades. And this is true also across the country, not to the degree we have in Arizona. So we're going to be putting a real focus on career and technical education. What we're going to know is CTE. Many of you that are my age or older remember a class called SHOP from when you were in high school. It's where a lot of people found a purpose and turned that into a pretty good paycheck. And we're going to have a lot more of that going on in the state of Arizona.
I still have a scar from SHOP, but we know it's true. 98% of our kids who go to a career and technical education program graduated, and I know that this has been something you have worked very hard and effectively at during the course of your administration.
The statistics really are staggering. This is always a tough interview to do because it's like your kids are interviewing you on Christmas Eve on what's going to be under the tree on Christmas Day, and you don't want to tell them. But I'm going to share some of those statistics in the state of the state and the real opportunity we have around CTE. And I think you see it with your manufacturing council. It's not just about high-paying wages and growth and development and construction. The opportunities for entrepreneurship and economic development are incredible. And I think it's something that, for whatever reason, has taken a second place position, and it shouldn't. This is an absolutely worthy way to pursue happiness in this country, and it's quite profitable as well.
Thank you, Governor. Speaking of entrepreneurial activity, and this is always intimidating because I'm with one of the great entrepreneurs in Arizona's history. A few days ago, we were at, you were a featured speaker at GCU, where they were naming a business school after one of the Arizona greats, Jerry Colangelo. And you made an announcement there about cutting red tape. Can you maybe talk a little bit about what you're looking to do on the regulatory reform area?
Sure. I think Susan really laid out what good policy is. And I want to thank the Chamber and the members at the Chamber for taking a leadership position on good policy. Low taxes, light regulation, low liability and litigation that has made our state such a positive place in which to do business and which to build a business. And we've tried to accentuate that. We've tried to take the positive and make it even better. We are in a dynamic, competitive relationship with other states. I always like to say, in my past business in the game of ice cream, people voted with their dollars. In this game, the game of states, people vote with their feet. And Arizona is winning. This is the fastest growing county in the country. There's 3,144 counties in this country. You can Google it, and we're winning. So we're going to continue to do that. We've done things, and we'll do more things, but a moratorium on regulations at the state level. And not only have we put a moratorium on new regulations, we've actually eliminated 1,098 regulations off the books in Arizona in the last 2 years. That's the equivalent of a $78 million tax cut without affecting the general fund $1.
And you will hear from a lot of businesses that combine your great work on the regulatory front and the federal side, that has been one of the reasons why the economy, a huge reason why the economy has been rocking and rolling. So we'll close on this. We're a chamber. We're all about opportunity and jobs. And really, you could take this question anywhere you want. I love the term jobs juggernaut at the inaugural. Any final words for the audience here, Governor?
Well, I think just to remember where we were 4 years ago. Our budget was broken, our education system was mired in lawsuits, and our economy was flat. We had a $1 billion deficit. So I don't think it's by any accident that we are here today in 2019 with a $1 billion surplus, a record amount in our general fund. We know that our state has been a jobs magnet, but with a real momentum going, I think this idea of us becoming a jobs juggernaut where we welcome job creators and people that want to work with open arms, and I believe very much so, we're just getting started.
Governor Doug Ducey, we look forward to assisting you in 2019. Thank you for being with us this afternoon.
Thank you, everyone. Let's have a great year.